Ooh,
Jesus.
did you get that message like I did?
I did. It was kind of weird.
It was very creepy. All right, well, we are recording live. Thank you, Craig, with your evil, Mizzy sounding voice. Now recording. All right, so it's Jmaine and GB looking over the 2023 draft. Any quick thoughts about the draft? Any quick comments?
I thought it was pretty solid for the first round. I thought there was a lot more talent, high-end talent, that you would put on a list early than typical drafts. I didn't think it was amazing, but I think it was better than most.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I didn't see like the in-your-face number one overall pick, in my opinion. I know everyone was saying Matt, which is fair. Yeah, but there was a lot of like good bats all around, in my opinion. The pitchers, I didn't see a great pitcher draft, but there were definitely pitchers to pick. But overall, I did see a lot of quality players, especially in the first round. But let's jump right into it. We're kind of still on time. Yeah, Mark Matt, thoughts, Giants, speedster.
I like him. I think he's kind of in the Ray Vizcaya mold with that, especially with the defense. It looks very similar. His contact, his eye. I mean, you just look at his ball and it jumps out at you. He looks like a dude that can be one of the better leadoff hitters. Wow. So I think it's pretty simple.
Well, just to go back on this guy was an interesting beast because he did have first baseman eligibility. Actually won Gold Glove there. But focusing on Matt, yeah, I mean he's a great all-around bat. He looks like he'll have a little bit of sneaky power, which is good. Legit stolen base threat, good defense. He doesn't appear to have great fielding, but you kind of set that aside because he's got the good speed. So you won't worry if he's in right field, center field, whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hate about Mark Matt. He should be one of those guys, like kind of like Connors, who was in Philly or in Seattle.
Yeah, that guy was. I feel he was overrated his whole career, but
right, but he was a first overall pick, I believe, if not
really.
I want to say. Also, Andy Legionnaire in Washington, who was drafted by I think San Diego. But this is the type of guy that you're gonna see, like. High contact, great speed, probably will skill like 30 to 40 bases.
750 OPS at on his good years.
But if you're a speedster and you supply that much and you hit 300, you're going to score about 90 to 100 times in a good offense. So there's nothing that you wouldn't want out of Mark Matt.
And he's safe, which is good too.
Yeah, safe pick. But with that being said, for me, I wanted more of the star player. Mark Matt's gonna be a great player, but he's gonna be that supple, that complimentary player that completes an offense. But Matt's a safe choice, so I can't hate on Mark Matt. So pick two, since we all like Mark Matt. Pick two, Jacob Brown. I'm gonna start with this. I don't really like him as others would. And by the way, I'm getting some feedback on your mic, by the way. So if you're wearing headphones, that'll be probably better. But Jacob Brown, to me, is someone who has low upside. And I immediately saw this guy, Greg Davis. I don't know if you remember him. It was actually number one overall pick, too.
I remember Greg, yeah.
Yeah. He was the guy who had some good early years and just kind of leveled out as like a 700 OPS type dude. He had a decent 10-year career, and there's another guy too. I totally forgot his name. I mentioned him in chat. Vanis, Eric Vanis. I see a little Vanis in Jacob Brown because of the limited upside. I think you're going to get a good player in Jacob Brown, but you're not going to see a superstar. You're not going to see an all-star player. You'll see a valuable player because he plays third base and second base. So I can't hate on that part, but you're not getting a star, and you have to understand that. But for pick number two, I didn't really like it. What are your thoughts on him?
So the next person we talk about, I'll go get my headphones. But for Brown, I think he's really risky, even minus his profile, just in terms of that he has 11 peak. It's if he gets up to that where you're like 92, 95, 2 more times type of guy where you are that mid-90s guy, then it's worth it. You don't see these high peaks that often, but a lot is going to be determined in the next year for him, for me anyways. If he has that profile where he just keeps jumping and gets to 93, 94, then it's worth it. But that's a tough ask. His baseline is a good player. So I don't know. I would have probably went somewhere else, but I can't hate it.
To me, he looks like an overrated player. He already jumped, so I actually expect him to be in the lineup for this upcoming Sim 5. Just right away, kind of like that guy Perkins, I believe his name is, in Chicago. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Brown becomes just like one of your players, Hiroshi Minoru, who is just a serviceable third base / second baseman. There's a couple other guys. Like I have one of them, Ross, who's serviceable, Paul Ross. But I just see Brown settling into that, average to being a good FCM player range, which is not what I expect out of number 2 selection.
All right, I'm back. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I was just saying that Brown reminds me of one of your players, or at least he could be one of your players, Hiroshi Minoru. He could be just a step above, just a little step above. Or like one of my players, Paul Ross, who is valuable, of course, but you're not getting a star.
Man, even a step above is not great.
But, considering third basemans are pretty weak in this league right now, we all know it, it's good to have a guy like Brown. So from a value perspective, I like Brown. But from a talent perspective, I hate Jacob Brown as a number 2 pick. He's just not a number 2 pick for me. So number 3, Zach Winstanley, Baltimore. GB. Who is dead? Where are you, GB? Is your mic off?
Was it not working?
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, your mic cut off. Zach Winstanley, number 3 to Baltimore.
Yeah, so this guy's interesting to me. These pros usually 21. And then, maybe there are some out there, but I don't remember that. Guys are 17 with this profile, and this amount of upside is interesting. So I thought I was pretty high on him. I think he has so much upside. His defense is already elite. If he can get into that 90 range, he's going to be really good.
I like him due to his upside. A lot of these advanced defensive first basemen that we see along the years have been higher in overall, which I don't know. Maybe it stunted their jump ability. I don't know. But this guy's 17 years old, has high upside. The one thing I see is a low Ks, and sometimes you see that little glitching mogul. Then when you see a low K, K rate in their amateur profile, that kind of hurts their average or future average, whatever. If Maddie was here, to tell you all about it. But being 17, looks like he's going to be a pretty elite power hitter who can get on base and actually isn't a base clunker. He won't just be a tree log at first base, second base, whatever. He can run a little bit. But I like this guy. If I had the first overall pick, it would have been hard for me not to pick Winstanley. That's how I feel about Winstanley. I really like him. But Baltimore, they have 10 first basemen. I wonder what they're going to do with it. But I like Winstanley. So you got to pick the best player. So I'm with that. GB, you still there? My goodness, you got to get your mic together, man.
Doing headphones because it does not work.
Okay, it's a headphone thing. All right, no problem. But you did hear everything I said, so it wasn't a matter of not hearing. It was just your mic.
I could hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. It's all. Yeah. It's do you. All right. So let's move on to number 4, Guillermo Sanchez. to the Red Sox.
Yeah, so I don't have a great read on him. He needs a jump. No, me. He looks like a guy that I want to pick in the 20s. I don't know. I just don't have a great. I don't have a great read on him. A little higher pick than I would have thought.
Yeah, same here. I struggled with a guy like Sanchez. On the surface, I do like the player. I do like the player. I just question what he's going to become. He looks like a little underwhelming power pitcher with a high fastball, looking at his 45 ground ball rate. So he should develop evenly. But being that everything's at 69, 66, 64, nothing jumps out at you. So what are we looking at here? Like 80, 85s all around? Yeah. So this is a type of pick I'm going to avoid. I'm not sure if he jumped or not. But Sanchez could be pretty good, but I don't see very good. I see very average to good type player. So I'm very curious to see a guy like Sanchez. But the next guy, who a lot of people thought was number one pitcher in this list, and I agree, Tim Ford. I thought this guy could have been the number one overall pick too. You can argue with that. Super upside for this kid, Tim Ford, 19 years old. He's got the ground ball, high control, movements on par. But this guy will sneak up with a little bit of power, and that's what I really like about Tim Ford. 6'3" power starting off. That means if he develops, properly, let's say, he might have 80 plus power, which is legit. That's legit number one. If he can get to 90 plus control and movement, I thought this was a no-brainer. First pitcher taken. But let me hear your thoughts on Tim Ford.
I mean, I liked him. I had him on my list. I know.
Yo.
Endurance and health are really high as a combination. As a 19-year-old, he's about to be 20 in not this sim, but next. And, if he doesn't get a jump, and it kind of weirds me out when I start getting to the 20-year-old guys and their overalls are so low to where, and I'm not Mr. Matty where I can project, 5 years down the road and know what's going to happen. But it's always seemed that like those guys that are a little bit older with a low overall, they seem not to they don't pan out as much for me. I like him. I don't think he's like the slam dunk great pitcher that a lot of people are saying, but I think he could be a good 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the cat who doesn't reach the major leagues until like 26 years old. Probably that's a little too high, but like he'll take a long time to develop because of that high upside. But I guess that first jump will tell you a lot. I mean, that's going to be a common theme. Like you don't know any intel until you see a drop or a jump type thing. So, but I liked him for like his starting point. The next guy, another pitcher taken, Ricardo Santonio to Gilly. Give me your assessment on Ricardo.
I had him on the list as well. I don't really. I did like. Pretty nice. He's sometimes I don't know. Like it's like a feel thing for me at least. Like I feel that he's going to really have a good progression. Like just with everything combined, how it looks. I think that he could have a good progression. His birthday is September 1st, so I don't know. I don't think he jumped or dropped at all. So it'd be nice for him to get a jump before that. But I mean, I like the pick. I know his overall to his vitals aren't great, but with his age and everything else, I like it. I like his upside.
I think he's a healthy looking player. Like even if he drops a little bit, I like where his control is at, even where his movement's at. So even if he becomes like an 85 overall talent, like we'll see, obviously, but it looks like he'll have a pretty, he's pretty projectable. He's pretty projectable. I don't know what the fuck I'm going with that. He looks pretty projectable as a young pitcher. I also thought this was more of a safe selection. You're not going to get a bona fide ace here. And actually, there's another pitcher who I really like as a potential ace. But I like what I see here in Ricardo. So if you're going to go for a safe, projectable starter, Gilly chose proper with San Antonio. The next guy, Alexis Diaz, I think I didn't give him a proper assessment when I first saw him because I don't think I had him on my list. But now that I'm looking at him, I really think this guy could really become a solid power pitcher. Why? I see the low on base average, and the amateur numbers don't tell you everything. But as a 35% ground ball pitcher, his power being 10 points over his overall, and seeing an on base average, he could be legit. And at 16 years old, that means who knows? Who knows where this cat can go? What about Diaz?
I did not have him on my list. This is like a hokey bill.
Hokie and GD are like power build central.
Yeah, they have kind of the same kind of pitcher thing going. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing. Does he get to 75 control? Does he get to 80 control? I mean, that's really going to have to jump for him to get there. It's tough, but it is interesting because he's 16 and he has a 71 power and he has a huge upside. I mean, there's some interesting things where it all clicks and it really looks good. The on base average, I know that's a thing that people like to look at for amateur stats. That's pretty legit. I mean, a lot of times it's kind of like a roller coaster where it goes up and down, and you like a couple of those years. But I mean, all 4 years he's basically under 200 OBA, which is really impressive. I might not have looked at that as much when I was scouting, but that he's interesting. Like I'll keep looking at him while he progresses.
Right, and yeah, I definitely overlooked him as well. And a TT. Texas Tornado, he said that he sees a little bit of Toledano in him. And you know what? That's fair. He could turn into a little Toledano who had like about 80 control, high power and movement.
Those guys like hit one out of every, 7 or 8.
Yeah, and you know what? The danger in picking a guy like Diaz or any power pitcher, you cannot miss a jump. You cannot skip a beat.
Your progression has to be perfect.
Yes. But the reward is going to be great if you get a Diaz turn to Toledano 2.0, because that'll be great. Neil Tussey. God, I love Neil Tussey. I don't love him because he's going to be a superstar. I know I could plug in a go-go third baseman with Neil Tussey with a little bit of power. I don't see a bona fide power hitter or anything like that, but I see a nice third baseman for the Philadelphia Phillies. Reminds me of is he Montreal? Yes, Montreal. Kevin Jensen, but possibly a step higher than Kevin Jensen. Great defense, great power. Can plug into the lineup. Jensen hasn't really done a whole lot in the major leagues yet. He's young, a little dipping under 700 OPS, but I think Tussey has a really good chance to be a nice third baseman. Just plug him in for the next 12 years. In Philly. So I thought it was a nice, safe selection. I know talking to you that I think we both like Neil Tussey just because he's a nice, dependable third baseman.
Yeah, I think the things he has going for him. Tough. Ready. He's going to hit. He's not your top of the, top. He's, maybe the 6th, 5th guy if he turns out pretty well. But he's going to be a dude that's going to start for a decade and be a really good player. So that's tough to find at third base. I don't hate him for anything. I don't think he's ever has a chance to be elite. but you have to get lucky to get an elite player most of the time. So yeah, I think it's a good pick.
Next selection, Rich Haven, guy I love. I love Rich Haven. I was a big Rich Haven fan for the first go around of scouting. A little bit of picture theory, just a little bit of picture theory. Saw a little bit of Cliff Miller in him. Okay, I'll put that aside. But I think Rich Haven has number one pitcher written all over him. I may be wrong. I'm known for my hot takes, and you know what? I'm pretty much wrong about 42% of the time. I'll give myself 42%. I'm wrong, but I like Rich Haven in Toronto. But I mean, you look at his player card; he has all the values you like. I don't think there's much to hate about Rich Haven.
I don't think there's much to hate either. I mean, I know you love him. This is great, but somewhat on the, and I think he got kind of beat up a little bit on, not that Discord. He's I think he's going to be like a solid 2 or 3. I've seen a lot of these bills, and they look, most of them, they never get elite. They usually are pretty solid, and they do kind of their years they kind of fluctuate year to year. But it's a good pick. I mean, I think he's going to be a good player. I don't like a lot of these guys. It's kind of the same trend. Like he's going to be a really good player for someone for a while, and that's not a bad thing.
I think it's a solid comparison, Haven to Dunwitty with the high control. I think it's
at its highest, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a solid comp. But I really like his chances. I like him more than Santonio. I like him more than Diaz and Sanchez. I liked him as the number 2 pitcher.
You could have got this guy back 10, 15 seasons ago. Late teens, early 20s. That's where they were falling at that point.
Oh, Rich Haven? Yeah.
It's interesting how, the dynamic is changing in drafting.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know.
Never go down the peak list in terms of who's being selected. No way. Things have changed. Brian Heidbarger. You know what? I might be in a minority here. I really like this pick. I was a big fan of Brian Heidbarger because you got the intel of his drop. He didn't drop much. Brian Heidbarger.
What's his drop?
I don't know. He had a very minimal drop. Let me see my list. He was 95 peak, and now he's down to 94 peak after his April birthday.
Overall didn't drop at all?
He dropped 1 point in peak. 1 point. So he still has all this upside. Lefty, high contact. His power would be like somewhere around 85, 88. His eye would be just fine. First base defense, I think, is whatever. I see Montez Robinson 2.0, and I'll put that stamp right away. I love this pick, Brian Heidbarger. I thought he should have went a little bit higher. But there's a lot to like about Brian Heidbarger. He's going to have elite contact and just enough doubles and home run power that he might have, a 900 plus OPS for a long time. Chicago got himself a superstar.
I mean, this
superstar.
That's the place to go for a first baseman, because they always try. Even when it was JPS, but whoever the GM of this baseman every first round. But he seems, the Montez Robinson. I kind of get what you're saying. That would be great if he was. That'd be a great pick. It's just, man, there's so many first basemen out there, and and this guy has a lot of what you want. But there's other positions that have as good or almost as good of an upside that this guy has that I might be more inclined to go a different way. Oh, it's a fucking hummingbird. Holy shitski. Anyways, so it was okay. Yeah, I think maybe should have went maybe 4, 5, 6 spots lower.
Oof. Yeah. Man.
Just because, you might have a really good first baseman, like a great first baseman and a really player at a different position, I mean, I think they equal out value. So either way, I think I don't hate the pick by any means, but yeah, I might have went a different way.
All right, give me the intel on Waterston.
He's the first guy that popped out of me that I thought I could. He has a lot that I like. I mean, his endurance might be a little high. Fine. He has a nice fastball, good repertoire. Ground ball percentage is solid. His home run rate spikes a little bit here and there, which is a little scary, but he dropped 2, which was a big thing for me. I really was going to drop him off my list at 11 if he would have dropped more than 2. So it kept me interested in him. I had like 3 guys at this pick. I had Thurtle, which went right after my pick, and then I had Peter Williams, who went all the way to 22. Those were the 3 guys I was really looking at. But he really makes me think that he could be kind of a. It depends on the first jump, but he could be kind of a light, like a Howie Wright type guy if he gets a nice first jump. But we'll see. I just think there's like 5 or 6 things I look at in a starting pitcher, and he had 4 of them or 5 of them or whatever, and he was one off an elite pitcher prospect for me. So I just had to go with my gut at the end, man. Even though I have about 18,000 pitching prospects, so
Well, 5 of them have to work. That's all that matters. But about Waterston, I do like him. I think he's in that safe category with Santonio, but I like Waterston more. And you do get the intel that he dropped 2 points, and that's very healthy. So I'm a big fan of Waterston. I think he lands, in when he's peaked in a good rotation, he probably slots 3 or 4, but there's nothing wrong with that because Waterston could be pretty dependable, high ground ball rate. He might sneak in with some power. You talk about the fastball. That's good. Lots to like about Waterston. I don't think he's going to be elite, but I think he's going to be very, very good. Like comp good,
The first jump will be very telling again.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? That's just a good, maybe not risk, but like we've seen this pitcher before. We've seen this, like no matter what, this guy will have some sort of value.
Solid.
Solid, yeah. But I would say more safe. I would say safe. No hate on it. Now, Jeff Thurtle is a guy I really like. I like him more than Heibarger. Yes, I think Thurtle is probably going to be the best first baseman in this draft. I like Win Stanley the most, but had I was going to pick keep my the 5th overall pick, I was really targeting Jeff Thurtle. I think this guy has legit like 95 plus power, lefty, just banging out of the ballpark with like 75 plus contact. Even though he's advanced in age, I will be okay with Jeff Thurtle on my team.
Go ahead.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, he's advanced in age, but I'm not afraid of that.
Advanced in age, but he's not going to be 23 till next year. Late June. Guy almost took him at 11. He has great power, elite power. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe I've been burned in the past by these guys that have these huge home run numbers as Amies and kind of fizzle out. Like, they just don't have the staying power. They might have a couple of good years early and then they just shit the bed. But I really like him. I really think he's a good player, and I think Maddie made a good pick.
I think a guy, an example of a guy you're talking about with not a lot of staying power was Noah Steger.
For the Sox. Yeah, my Sox.
Elite power. Actually had some dominant years, like 3 or 4 years in, and just fell off a cliff. And I had that fear with Engelbrecht, but he's in a happy place in Minnesota.
He's not happy, okay? No one's happy with Maz as your overlord.
But yeah, I like Thurtle. I'm gonna fuck up this guy's name, but Sean on Talon.
Talk about him. I'm letting out the dogs.
All right, let out the dogs. I definitely left him off my list. He's one because he's lefty, not just. I saw the high home run, saw he's lefty. I said nope. I've been hearing sirens outside my unit all freaking pod. Like, did I get accused of something or some shit?
Do you have a hospital right next to you somewhere?
I do.
I have two in between me.
I do, but I heard multiple sirens. I'm like, hey, is everything all good?
Someone got killed. That's okay.
I know I'm in the hood, but all right. And anyway,
Did he just jump?
did he just jump on Talon?
He is 7193 because I have the latest.
He's 7193. I don't know what he was before. I don't know what to think about. Like, I think he looks like a good reliever. Someone who's not gonna be good enough for a rotation, and he's just gonna slot in a reliever because of his low endurance. I could be wrong. He doesn't have a high fastball, high anything. So he's definitely not going to be dominant. He might sneak in with some power, but I don't know how much. His control is not even there. I just don't know how to really rank him. I don't really like him.
There's a lot. His vitals under all three. Great home run issue. It looked pretty solid. Maybe not so much in college, but I don't know how that works. But man, I don't know. I think he jumped. I'm not gonna take the effort to go look again. But he better really project out to like a 93 type of player, or he's not looking great to me.
All right, feedback for you. Your mic is cut off for like 5 seconds at a time, so maybe stand close to the mic. Not sure.
Probably because I'm wandering around right now.
All right, try to stay close because I hear you loud and clear, but sometimes you're really cut off and I lose your mid sentence. Seth Blakey. He seems very generic to me. That's all I got on Seth Blakely. He's a DH who could be a nice right-handed DH, but I don't know how to really look at him. So I'm gonna say that's a no for me for Seth Blakely. Could be a good player.
He's interesting. I mean, you better really hit because cutting out at all.
Yeah, you are. So if you look at the booth, if your icon is not highlighting green, you're not talking. You see it now?
Look. All right. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know about this highlight green thing. I don't know what you're talking about there.
So if you look at the booth, if you look at like who's talking, like I'm talking right now, you see like a little green highlighter around my icon.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
On your emblem. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so I'm Blakey. If I'm, but he is B or he's worthless. So for me, I mean, his splits are to where they are like almost switch hitterish, which is nice, but it's a big risk at this point in the draft.
Yeah, I guess he does look like a switch hitter. I guess his if he's a peak potential, Brett Marshall, but you gotta be Brett Marshall to be anything good, I guess. But you're not gonna put him in the field. Dustin Hall, who I think is better if you're gonna choose the DH to Texas Rangers, lefty, high power. I question the contact. He has to get over 70 contact. And you could probably play him in the field too, a little bit. But yeah, I think Dustin Hall has like legit 35 to 40 home run power if everything works out correctly.
I like Dustin Hall. I think he has really, being a lefty, He has a really good man. It'd be tough to play him in the field. I do like him a lot more than the guy Blakey picked for him. So I liked him more than your boy Heiberger, actually. But hot take. But we'll see. I mean, I think he intrigues me enough to think he's a solid pick at this point.
Now, this next pick, I am on the fence with, but it has to be if you do a position change and you try to regenerate those defensive numbers on Rafael Salazar. He could be a pretty good offensive option. Switch hitter.
So you're talking making him a shortstop.
Would I make him my shortstop? Is what you're asking?
You try to change him to a shortstop? Is that
yes. Like what I'm currently doing with Avery and what Maddie has done with Tommy Cake. And Tommy Cake is probably your comparison here. In San Diego, runs a lot, has a high steal tendency. So this guy's going to run a ton, 82 speed, whatever. But this guy would still run for 35, 40 bags. Change his position when he's up. And maybe he can be a pretty good defensive player because it worked very well with Tommy Cake. This guy as a switch hitter, he could be a very dangerous option. Limited upside, but I think it'd be just okay. I've seen this second baseman, middle infielder before. A little bit of a reach, but I understand. I don't hate on Salazar, but it's definitely a risk no matter what, whether you plug him in at second or shortstop. But I would definitely do a position change. For instance, I was going to say, if you put him at second base, just play him at shortstop or vice versa.
It's man, to do that, you have to hit it perfect. Like, that's the tough thing. Like, it needs, for me at least, you need to really hit perfectly on the timing to where he's transitioning over, to where you're not trying to win, trying to get a wild card or whatever, and then you're making this dude try to be a shortstop. That could or could not work. So that's a tough one for me. Like, it's a lot of moving parts. But it is interesting. I mean, he's interesting. I didn't have him on my list just because I hate doing the transition thing like this because it takes you a couple years, and I don't want a couple years to where I'm just hanging out and letting this guy transition and being, not non-competitive. But it's an interesting strategy.
It depends on the situation. I think I get he has 66 whatever fielding, but if his numbers are okay, then he's as good as a Gold Glover. It's just like a glitch in Mogul, and it corrects itself after 2 years. So you're still fine. You're fine. But that remains to be seen. Still a risk no matter what.
I heard that San Diego, Matt.
Mike's cutting off, so I'm not sure.
I'm still cutting out.
Yeah. So repeat that.
I'm saying, like, Maddie told me about 18,000 times.
Goddamn.
Just get rid of me. I see the green every time I talk, but
it's weird. I don't
know. Just
I hear your first
struggling, sparling.
I have an idea. Do you have it on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Get use your phones. Use your phone.
All right.
And then use a headset. It'd be perfect that way.
Oh shit! Just all right. All right. Just go ahead and talk.
All right, you got it working? Where was I? Hold on 1 second. All right, so let's just move on to Justin Tunnicliffe to Cincinnati. I didn't like this pick. This is another corner outfielder who has shitty defense to Theo, and I've been praising him for his good selections. Tunnicliffe looks like, he sounds a lot crisper. already.
Yeah, it's fucking. You're like.
I
Putting your tongue in my ear right now.
I literally feel like your voice is in my fucking head. And it's really weird. It's like
I know. I don't like it.
it's like freaking me out. Actually, I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying right now because like I hear you in my head. Anyway,
Jesus
sorry.
Christ.
I don't. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Tunnicliffe, he could be okay. But it's just an average player. But if he becomes like that 90-90 guy, sure, he could be elite. But nothing really jumps at you. He has to be like an all-around contact power guy with, shitty defense. I don't know. I could be wrong on this guy, but corner outfielder, low value.
For me, he's a guy that you take like if you're, 34th, 35th spot. You're just trying to get the high upside guy that can be, have good potential to be, in a 90s type player that is going to be a good DH. Maybe, you can maybe even stick him in left field or something and he's going to be okay. But to me, he's that guy. He's a guy that like you take just because you just missed out on everyone else and you just want a guy that, has a chance to get into the 90s.
This is the type of guy who like gets type beat and bounces around from team to team, getting picked up for $8 million 2 years, and like has that sort of like journeyman career.
Stang picks him up, like 2 hours before the deadline. Just we think he's drinking again, but we're not sure.
This next pick actually reminds me of a guy I drafted a couple years ago. Just forgot his name real quick. Westmoreland, Jim Smith. He looks pretty good. He looks like that, like a switch hitting, shitty defensive corner outfielder, but he can run a little bit, and that's the key. This guy's going to maybe steal 10 to 15, maybe even 20 bags. Jim Smith, a little bit advanced in age, but I really like this pick for Seattle. I normally don't like Mizzy picks, but this is the one I really like.
All right, so I'm guessing he had a birthday and he dropped because he's at an April 30th birthday that we can see. I don't know what the drop is. Either way, I hate this pick.
Oh.
I think it's terrible. I get the switch hitter thing, and that's nice. He can't play defense. Don't ever put him in as a defender. So you're banking on that he's going to be a dude that's going to just crush it. And that with a 12 upside, I know he just had a birthday, but
he's also going to steal 20 bags. He's going to steal 20 bags.
He might steal 20 bags. He's going to get caught like 16 times. So I don't know. Not loving it. He's like 4 bags. He's like your boy Brian Manning. So not digging it at all.
Not digging it?
No.
I really dig it. I really dig that pick. And I normally don't love Mizzy picks. Adam Thompson to Colorado. He's like the guy who go either way. He's not the type I would pick, but I'm really not good at picking power pitchers. He can easily become that power pitcher that you want in your rotation. But the reason why I don't like Thompson is he's a power pitcher who's a little bit older. And he's not Diaz, who's 16 years old. This guy's 20 years old. So you already see the bar, 85. And he's probably going to either hit 85 or just a little bit below it. So with that, I see an average pitcher.
I think what Cat Diesel was thinking is that, he has a couple really nice home run numbers in his amateur stats to fit into Coors. I don't mind 20 years old with 68 overall. That doesn't bother me. He's another type of guy, though, for me, that he needs to jump before his birthday, which is in December, so he has some time, but he could be one of those guys that doesn't jump. And, at that point, if he gets down to like a 68, 82 or something like that, then you're really like behind the 8 ball with this guy. He needs these kind of pitchers need to really get into the 90s or high 80s to really have value. So we'll see. It's an all projection thing, and I think he's banking on a jump before his birthday.
Right, and a guy like Thompson, how he's going to develop, it's going to be pretty even across the board. So it could be 80s plus. I don't see 90s, but we'll see. We'll see at that first jump. Frederick Aribi to Dougie.
Frederick Aribi. All right. So, yeah, he's I mean, elite defense, obviously, already. He's just one of those guys that can play third or first. So, he's not gonna have the bat to play first base, so he's a third baseman only, which kind of limits his value a little bit. Man, he must have had a drop too. I wish I knew what it was, but he doesn't seem to run. He seems to run okay. He seems to have a little power. Man, he seems like he's going to be one of those guys that's just going to be a solid third base. You know what? I wouldn't even say that he's not going to have a similar career to the number 2 overall pick. Quite honestly, he seems like a solid third baseman.
I like this is the type of guy I wish would have second base eligibility as well, because then he'd be more useful. But with him just being a third baseman, I don't really like him. I think he reminds me too much of a guy who I liked at first and just flunked. And there's probably been a couple examples too, but Mitch Higgins in Mitch Higgins in Minnesota. He was just like, he looks starting material, but like he just absolutely sucked. And unfortunately, I might see that in Aribi, just an average to very below average. Like, I don't even know what to do with this guy. He's a righty, not even a good hitter. Great defense, but doesn't really do much else. Like 600 OPS. That's it. Maybe even lower.
I think he's gonna be a Jaquan Brown light. That's a hot take right there, man.
No, not even a chance. No way.
We'll see.
At least Jacob Brown can hit 15 to 20 homers. And actually play defense like, as Aribi. This guy, he was struggling at 8 to 10.
Time will tell, sir.
Time will tell. Scotty Booth. I actually like him, like Dustin Hall. I thought it was a good selection being a lefty. But the difference is this guy could actually play a little bit of defense, throw some guys out. Like Hall, I question where that contact's going to end up, and I don't know. Like, that it has to hit 70. If it doesn't hit 70, I don't know what to say about Scott Booth. But
he's already at 64 against righties on contact. So I mean,
and that's really all that matters. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get into the mid 70s against righties. He's more than likely a platoon player unless he really blows up. But I liked him too. I think you're right on with the comparison to Hall. He was a guy I was like thinking, if everyone gets picked at 11, he'd be and I couldn't trade back. He might be a terrible pick for me at 11, but I would be like the last resort. So I like him. I like him a lot. He's a solid pick, especially at 21.
I'm just curious to see if he gets that 70. But yeah, you're right. Like, you're never going to play against lefties, so it's only that contact versus righties that you're looking at. Even if he's like on the player card, like 67, 68 contact, his contact versus righties is all that matters. Now we're going to go over the steals of the first round. Peter Williams, how did he drop to 22?
I don't know, because I was really, really hard on him. Like, I was close at 11 to take him. Man, he just has a lot of things you have to like. Like, he has really good home run numbers. He has a really good just vital package. He has a solid fastball with 2 really solid pitches behind that with a 55% ground ball percentage. He's not doesn't have a birthday till December 30th, so he has this whole year to possibly jump. His endurance health combo is great. Like, man, I think he should have been like a top 15 pick easy. And it blows my mind that he was this late.
Yeah, and there's everything like in this guy. When you look at the player card and everyone loves a ground ball pitcher. We've all seen him. And he is probably going to be a little bit lesser than what Rich Haven will be. But a guy who I see, a player I see in Peter Williams is Charlie Buchanan. High control. And kind of like the Dunwoody, type. Buchanan was that kind of cat. but his his amateur numbers really balanced college and high school. Like, that could be the pitcher you see, like sub 4 ERA, nothing too low, Cy Young, but like maybe a 3.7.
Well, I give him more value because like the guy is advanced as a 65 overall, which is somewhat advanced for a AMI pitcher.
Sure.
With a control of 9+9. I mean, that's different than a guy that's a 55 overall with a control of 10 or 12 plus. I mean, it's just a different thing. And like this advanced, and he's still +9. Man, I just think he's. I think he's an easy bet to be a really good pitcher. A guy that's going to be, just a really good 3 or 2, possibly, for a long time.
Yeah, great pick by Run.
Yep.
Big fan. Now the next pick I also really like, Matt Wall to the Fighting Peters.
It's not Matt Wall. Oh shit, it is. Okay.
Matt Wall to the Fighting Peters, and this is actually the guy you're talking about with the lower overall. And I see what you're saying. 56. But a lot to like here. We've seen this type of cat before too. High control, moving on par, great upside, 17 years old. I don't know how this guy didn't get picked earlier.
Because he had a big ass jump before he before he got drafted. He had big.
There's nothing wrong with that though. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it's not nothing wrong, but it definitely, I'd say it's a little chink. Like it's I don't know. It's one little negative for me. I had him on my list. I liked him a lot too. So I don't think he's a bad player at all. I think it's a good pick at this point, definitely. But that was the one thing that kind of, was a little negative for me.
But like, when you draft a guy who's a project like Matt Wall, there are some cases where you never see that jump ever when he's young. So I think it's a real positive when you see a jump right off the gate. Because sometimes, because I think you even picked a guy, maybe 6-7 years ago, who had high upside, like 50 overall, but like never got the gate.
I drafted many of those guys, but yes.
No, but I remember. I remember one in particular. He's starting a team, Clay Walgrove. Yes, Clay Walgrove.
Don't talk about him.
Yes, but do you see what I'm saying?
No, I do. I do see what you're saying. Like it is not. It's better to see the jump than not. Definitely, because he has that. And I like him at this spot. I do like him at this spot. I'm not hating. I'm just trying to put a little thing here or there out there. But I think he's he still has great upside, and he's really young, like you said. And he has every single thing besides maybe a little home run issue. But when he's 17, maybe
that
16
corrects itself.
At one point. Yeah. So I think it's a great pick. I mean, he could be one of the top, 2 or 3 pitchers in this draft. He could.
Absolutely. Just give a little bit of respect to Peter there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, he could be a 3-4 start for whatever many years. Sean Stanton. This could be the swing pick that can go either way. This is my opinion. His contact, yes, the contact's low. But if he lives up to the high peak, this could be a guy that none of us saw coming, and maybe we overlooked. I would not take him. I would not take him. But I could see the risk. I could see why.
Are you in a little like chair that you can twirl all the way around 180 degrees?
My chair?
Yeah.
Can I talk about my chair? So I have duct tape. I have duct tape in my chair because it's a little bit ghetto, but it's all good.
That's fine. I mean,
I can't really twist and turn, but
I'm just hearing it. It's like crying out. Like I don't know.
That?
Yeah,
like that?
It is what it is.
One of those.
But I like this. Maybe a little bit later in the draft, I would have went for him like late first, early second. I can't hit on either because he has that intrigue that if he hits he has to really progress like perfectly. But if he does, I mean, you got yourself a player. Let me look at his fielding. His fielding kind of scares me. I mean, I know he has I've seen a lot of these third basemen that have solid fielding that just shit the bed when they get to the pros, but that scares me. I think you might almost be just a DH or a really weak defensive player at third. But I'm not hating on it. I mean, maybe I would have been 7, 8, 9 picks later, and I would have picked him. But I can't say it's like terrible by any means.
Not terrible. All right.
Terrible.
Now here's a pick that got us all buzzing. Matt Washington to the man upstairs in the north of the border. Matt Washington.
How many is he eating a hot pocket right now? Be honest.
Let's talk about what flavor. Like, is it pepperoni? Is there sausage in it?
I think he's gonna get a little crazy, do a little ham and cheese.
Well, ham and cheese.
Yeah, spice it up a little bit.
Okay. Matt Washington.
I guess you'll let us know. All right.
He loves us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Matt Washington, a lot of people gave him a little heat for this. I think it's a solid pick at this point. I would have taken him over Stanton, maybe not Matt Wall, but, Aribi, Adam Thompson, Jim Smith, Tunnicliffe, Salazar. I would have taken him over probably.
You want him first overall, basically.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying at this point, I think it's a really good pick because I see the 10 upside. And if he had a birthday in July or August, that would scare me a little bit more. But, he has, and like I think Miz said that he could have already had his jump, and he could have, and that's a risk. But with the January birthday, he has this whole year to get that jump, if possible. And if he does, then it's looking nice. And I know, like, these Bills, I hate them more than a lot of other people. But I think he has a chance to be a very good first baseman. I mean, I'm not going to say great by any means, but I think he could be just one of those guys that can play, 6, 7, 8 years and be a positive to your team, and has the upside, which never happens for these Bills, but has the upside to, be bet more than that.
He looks like Len Grimes, but Len Grimes had that huge upside when he was first drafted. And if he was corrected, he would look like Matt Washington, who would have not like Grimes would not have been taken third overall if he looked like Matt Washington on draft day. But I think Washington could have a nice career as a steady first baseman. He could hit 25 to 30 homers. Like I've seen somebody like James Nixon, I think, is one of the dudes who kind of flamed out. There might have been another defensive first baseman who was a high end pick, flamed out, but still had a steady career. But the difference is this guy wasn't a lottery pick. This guy was taken late first. I think Mike is going to really like this guy. And it's funny because I immediately saw this guy, I said, nah, fuck it. But when I really looked at him the second time, I said, there's actually a lot to like here. Just give me one or two, just give me one good jump, and I'm satisfied with Matt Washington. Because then he'll have 80 contact and 85 power. Being a lefty, you have that little bit of a spike. He'll be just fine. So I don't hate it. I like it.
Yeah.
But you know what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get a all-star first baseman. You're just gonna have a nice first baseman plugging in.
Yeah, a solid above average guy. Yeah. That, a lot of first basemen go early every year, and half of them flame out. So, it could be a lot worse.
So this next pick, and I'm sorry, Miz, but I'm gonna have to really show you this one. Luke Wall is one of the shittiest first-round picks, this year. Go ahead. This guy was tabbed as number 65 on my draft board. 65. Took a huge jump, and he bought it. He bought Luke Waters. He bought on the huge jump. No. Luke Waters is going to be very average. And he's going to drop after the sim. So he's going to fall right back into that fourth round range. And he dropped the ball on this one. Sorry, Miz.
I mean, I like his splits. Oh God, the wife is home. It's already 74-77 on the splits. Even if he drops to 69-86 or something like that. I mean, if he has a huge drop, that's a problem. But I think he could be he could get to a close to 90-90 type guy against righties with a good defense. I mean, I'm not hating it. You know, a lot of these picks, I'm just kind of like, solid pick. And I think this is just solid pick.
I just think you dropped the ball to get a nice roster piece, maybe rotation. There's a couple of good arms, a couple of good outfielders still on the board, but no Luke Walters. But we jump ahead to Mizzy again for next 2 picks. Jeff Smart, who I'm lukewarm on. I think he looks like your Trav Kong, middle infielders. So I'm meh on Jeff Smart.
Yeah, he's kind of the same. I don't know. He's like just going to be solid. I feel like he's going to be solid. Shortstops are not great in the file. Now you can get these guys second or third round too, but if you want to guarantee yourself, this type of player, it's a solid pick. It's easy.
Now, I mean, I think he's gonna be better than Trav Kong. I'm gonna throw that out there. He did have a drop, whatever, but I don't see a all-star shortstop. Maybe. Oh, I gotta hear this one.
Sorry, did not see them. It's hot in here. It is hot.
Turn the AC.
All right. Anyways,
turn it on. All right. I just think Jeff Smart's an average shortstop. No frills. He'll have a career. He'll be just fine, but he's gonna bat ninth and give you pedestrian offense and good defense. But that's Trav
He's
Kong.
a guy you could never ever again trade for a first round pick.
No, absolutely not. And if he does, it's probably gonna. If Jacob comes back, Jeff Smart is going in that direction for a top 5 pick. But Brian Chapman, the next pick to Mizzy. I actually like this pick. This is a good risk. Kind of like the risk he took a couple years ago when he took Keys. High fastball, young guy, live upside. Power build. His control is going to need some help, but he's got some time. If he's going to get to 75, that'll be okay. But you really want 80. But he's 17, so it'd be different if he was 20 years old. So I'll give him that. I like him.
Yeah. I mean, the reason he's even possible to pick here is because he's 17 with a big upside, and that's pretty much the deal.
Yep.
He's going to be a power pitcher if he hits on a lot of things, and I don't like the fastball 20 points over already. I feel like it takes away from some other things at this point, but I can see the upside pick on this at this point. Not hating it.
So let's kind of finish this up. Jason Benjamin, righty first baseman in San Diego. I just think that he's he looks like the classic Peter pick who has high upside and looks very pedestrian at first base, but ends up being part of a big trade. But I mean, there's like one guy in particular. I think he's on Cincinnati now. Joey Samples. He looks like Joey Samples. Looks like Joey Samples.
So you have to have the Peter skill then to know when he's at his exact point of trade value and find the dude that's going to deal for him. So maybe, I don't know, Percy said he overslept for this draft. Maybe that's his role, where he waits until he gets to look all fancy at like a 78, 92, and then trades him to some jackass and gets good value.
But I'll tell you one thing about this player, a little bit of picture theory. Manny Ruano is in Cincinnati, and he's killing it. He looks great. Same picture, okay? You get it, okay? Move on. Move on. Will Brome to Texas. I think he looks pretty average, but give me your take.
I don't like the 50 overall with the 20 years old. He's going to be 21 here in a few months. To me, he needs a big jump soon, or he is going to be a dude that just isn't he's going to be 26 and he's going to peak, or he's going to be close to peak, and he's not going to look great then. So, he has some home run, intrigue, and a couple other intrigues, but his control is nice at this point. But like you said, 50 overall with 11 points top, and that, by the time he peaks, it's going to be not great. So, yeah, just kind of a throwaway for me.
Yeah, he looks like he's a flashless pitcher, no fastball, low velocity fastball. His control doesn't even shoot at you, and he's 20 years old, like you said. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good career at the bullpen. But starter, I don't really see him being a bright spot. But he will have an FCM career in some capacity. I just don't see him as a rotation piece.
Not as bad as the paper.
Agreed. And you know what? I think the context of this whole draft was like, just everyone was pretty solid for the most part. Why is there a freaking turtle on this thing? You see the turtle? Hologram turtle? Anyways.
You got hummingbirds and turtles and...
Dude, I'm saying there's on the Kansas driver's license, there's a hologram turtle. I've never seen it before.
Never been to Kansas.
But, that's not a bad thing. Anyway, so, yeah, I just think this first round was just, everyone pretty much making solid picks. And then a lot of it has to do with, progression and luck at this point.
Yep. And hopefully by the time we end this pod, that we get a nice simulation. But Andy's not on. Okay, so we're not going to get a simulation.
We'll get a Madden simulation maybe because Miz is on.
Man. How's that going? I don't know what's going on with that.
We're in week 5. We're like slower than FCM, so it's Turtles pace. Well,
that wraps it up. I hope this was a good pace for you. I know you got busy things to take care of.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. And I have to go tend to the lady.
All right, tend to the lady. Good luck in your process and congratulations, of course.
Thanks.
Yeah, do your thing, man. But I appreciate you coming on.
All right, later.
All right, boys. Peace. I'll post this on YouTube in a little bit.